Hi guys. I downloaded that video of Taylor. I did it this morning, so I put it out. So thank you guys for watching it. If you do, it was hard for him, but I have to make some comments on that because for parents out there, I don't remember that boy that Taylor remembers him being. You know, he talks about being a thug and all that, but you know, I don't remember that boy. Taylor grew up a very wonderful life, but he was a gamer. From the time he was 2, he loved video games. He started playing video games. He grew up in that massive video game generation, right? And he was just so good at it. So at the age of 2, he started playing video games. He was fabulous. But he was happy. Taylor just played. He just wanted to play all the time. Just played. He didn't care about what was going on in the world. He just wanted to play. That's all he wanted to do. He was always mischievous. He was always mischievous. Always. He just all this energy, right? Taylor would go until he would collapse, and you would find him on the steps in motion, and wherever he would fall asleep and finally pass out, that's where he would be, literally in motion. That's just how he went. You know, but that boy that he was talking about, that he remembers, I don't remember. I don't know. I don't. When his brother died, I know things changed. You know, I do. And, but I did not. I was home all the time. I was watching him all the time. And so when he got to be 14 and 15 and he started smoking pot, you know, I mean, I thought I caught him every time. But I had no clue of the level. I had no clue of the severity of it, you know. And what he was doing was to numb the pain, because he was in so much pain. He spoke about his father, my kid's dad. He just drank his whole life, you know. I mean, he's not that kind that is drunk 24/7. He's a functioning alcoholic, and he has a job, but it's on the weekends that his whole day in life revolves around him getting to the weekend, so he drinks. So all of his free time was not spent constructively with his children. It was spent, okay, I got this many hours that I can drink. And you know what? Still to this day, it's the exact same way. So, I mean, he's functioning, you know, and he just refuses to admit he's got a problem. And so when Taylor went through some rehab, and when we went through all that and brought his dad up to talk about it, we had to confront the alcoholism, and his dad just wouldn't even hear about it, stormed out and ran out. But that's, you know, so after his brother died, Taylor was very sad. And again, you know, his dad, they love their dad. Their dad's there, but they don't count on their dad. They don't count on their dad. He's a very weak father, very, very weak father. And I've always been a very strong mother because I had to be. I had to be. So again, I said, when I became weak, they crumbled. They crumbled. My children crumbled. So Taylor, what they do is, I found out, these high schoolers, they get these Xanax. I didn't even know, okay? I'm not a Xanax person, but they get what's called Xanax bars, and they crush them, and they snort them, and then they drink this Delsum cough medicine. I had no clue. None. And then, you know, when we found out, and he was 17, we put him in rehab, and I drove every week to go see him, and I talked to the doctors and stuff, and boy, my eyes were sure opened up of stuff. I had no clue. Because you know what, first of all, I never thought I'd have a child that would do drugs, ever. Never. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not so naive that I didn't think that they would try them, you know, maybe that they would smoke some pot and move on, but I had no clue that I would have a child that would dig into drugs like that. he's not a heroin addict, okay? And there again, the doctor said, you know, first of all, how he's not addicted to anything was beyond them. They couldn't understand all the drugs he had tried, that he wasn't addicted to anything. Pot was his main thing, because he wanted to be numb all the time. Numb put him in a happy place, but he said he felt normal when he was high, smoking pot. He felt normal, that he could be on a normal level with everybody else. That's what he said. But he might have done heroin, but he was not a heroin addict. I mean, that was not a drug of choice. His drug of choice was pot. You know, not saying that he didn't try it or didn't do some of it, but boy, I didn't know. But when I did find out, we went to rehab, and I had to learn, and I had to no longer let him manipulate me. You know, it's tough, really tough. Ooh, tough 6 years. You know, not only losing my son, but going through this with my other son. So I know, you know, when I say I know the pain, I know the pain. I know what that's like to worry. I know what that's like. But you know, I throughout this whole time, I would talk to Taylor about God. Even when he would pretend he wasn't listening, I still talk about it. You know, last year he told me, he said, Mom, I remember every single thing you ever told me. I remember everything. Even though you think I don't, I pretended I didn't care and wasn't paying attention. I remember every single word you said to me. So don't stop talking. Just because you think they're pretending they're not listening, don't think that they're not, because they are, because they want help. And Taylor got so used to running. He did. He was never content being home anyway, but he would run. That's all he would do. And he always wanted to do what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. Well, but I don't remember him, you know. Then he started rapping, okay? He started going to the studio, going to singing, going to rapping. So, you know, that takes you around a whole nother crowd. It just does. It takes you around a whole nother crowd. And, you know, it's been a battle. It's been a battle. But it's been a long haul. But you know, he can't run from this. He can't run from God. I always knew God had him. I always knew. But I knew it was going to have to play out. And so it's hard. It's so hard. Especially when you know that your child, and I really never worried, I will tell you this, down deep inside, I never worried about other drugs, because I don't think they were that, I mean, not that they weren't bad, not that he didn't do them, but it was the pot. It was pot. He just wanted to be high all the time. In that way, it soothed everything, see? It soothed, it made him relax and get into that mode where that wasn't constantly, you know, that anxiety. He has severe anxiety, and that anxiety wasn't, you know, just charging up. So being high calmed that anxiety. But you can't have a functional life being high all the time. You can't. And I'm not one to allow it. So he chose, you know, to run. But I'm so proud of him now. I'm so proud of him. And his thing is, in that video yesterday, was really two young people his age. You know, they are. And many think that they've done stuff, or, you know, in their young life, and that they're not going to get to go, or God's not. Oh, what Taylor was showing was yes. And when God gets a hold of you, he gets a hold of you. You know, he gets a hold of you. You don't have a choice. And he knows that. You don't have a choice. So he's been fighting it. He's been fighting it. Fighting it. That's why he fought me. Fighting it. Because it's so much easier not to have God in your life. So much easier. Because you can walk and do what everybody else is doing. But he just couldn't, you know, get rid of God. God was just on him all the time. And so he tried to run from him and he couldn't. So, but that's, I don't remember that boy he's talking about. But in his mind, that's who he was. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Taylor was always the little computer geek. I mean, he loved, so smart, so smart. He was very subdued yesterday, very subdued, because normally he's all, woo, you know, real like this. And that's how he was before. He was all, mom, 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 mom. You know, AT&T is giving me my own office, and I'm going to put together my own team, and I get to run it. And McDonald's, I'm starting at McDonald's as a manager at the end of the week. And, you know, it's just all this. And he's like, God is so great because, you know, God, you know, he just blah, blah, blah. And really, he is on a whole nother level. So proud of him. But that boy he talked about, I didn't know. But that's in his mind who he thinks he is, or was. But I didn't see that, you know. He didn't see that. And prison, he didn't go to prison. Could have, should have. Over when he was 17, he stole an Xbox with some boys. And, you know, you're on that probation, and, you know, they don't think that probation is so bad, but when you miss checking in to your probation officer, well, that's what he did. So they technically gave him a felony. He was 17 then, but I mean, then when he was like 19, almost 20, they took him back to court, and they convicted him of a felony for that. So what they did was they sent him to boot camp. I mean, boot camp. And that's where he was last year. He up until this past October. He was there from March till November. I mean, October. They called him the preacher down there. He's preaching everybody. And he did wonderful. He did wonderful. You know, and we thought, oh, this is it. But, you know, the minute he got out, and he was all pumped for this, but he went back, he's going to minister back to that crowd that's, you know, the places that he shouldn't have gone because he wasn't strong enough. But he wanted to go. And I said, you're not strong enough. Sure enough, he went, and he wasn't. The enemy got him. So then hence the battle through the winter, which I told you guys about. So I knew I was battling the enemy for my son. But yeah, he went to boot camp. That strict boot camp is where he went. So he has to walk the line. So any tickets he gets or anything that happens, he'll get in big trouble for. So now you understand when I say that he got, like, I don't know, 22 tickets or 27 tickets within these couple months. I mean, just because no insurance card, no sticker on the back of the car, no seat belt, and just kept getting them. You know? So it's maturity. He's so street smart. He's so smart. He's so intelligent. He's got a lot of wisdom. Lots and lots of wisdom. But it's those little things that you have to take care of, that you don't take care of, that's what he leaves. And I said, you know what? If you don't take care of these, those are open doors. And right when you start in your life and in your walk, the enemy has a little string that he can pull you back because of those open doors that you're not closing. Just on little things, you know, those little tickets. So you can't leave open doors. But moms and dads, don't give up. And if you're young, please don't think that you've done something so bad, because I watched God's hand upon Taylor. I watched it the whole way. I watched him call him. I watched him do miracles in his life. I mean, big ones. I watched this. And that's when I knew. And I said, you can run from him, but you cannot hide. because you are his. And and the Lord told me he would use Taylor. You know, about 4 years ago, I knew. It was just that moment. Ooh, I knew. You know, but it wasn't an easy road. It wasn't an easy road. And he's got to fight back. I mean, he's got all this confidence now, but he had to fight his way back. You know, and now he's going out. But I'm so happy that he's just bold. He's just so bold. I mean, he talks about God everywhere. I mean, he loves to street preach. Loves it, loves it, loves it. Hands out Bibles all the time. You know the problem with Taylor is, though? I mean, he don't have any money. But whatever money he gets, if he's got $50, he gives a homeless person 25 or 30 or at all. So, yeah, all the time. All the time. He will pull over, not even know him, and he will give them everything he has. And he'll be on dead E and not enough gas to go. And see, it's those kind of things he doesn't think about. But bless his heart, what a good heart. So, but he's the Old Testament. Paul, I mean, Taylor connects the New Testament with Paul. He just connects to Paul. But Taylor's heart is the Old Testament. The Old Testament. That's where his heart is. And he knows that Old Testament. You know, 2 weeks after I knew that the Spirit of the Lord was upon Taylor, he could quote Old Testament. Stuff I knew, but I knew he could not know. But that's where his heart is. It's in the Old Testament. So, anyway, I hope the next time, you know, that he's more comfortable. But it's really, his was for the young ones. So, for his age, his generation, the ones that think that, you know, what they do is so bad, and he wanted you to know that, well, look what I've done. And God loves me so much because he knows God. And that is it. He knows God loves him. He knows it without a shadow of a doubt. And that, knowing that faith in that, carries him, totally carries him, gives him this oomph over that mountain. If that's his oomph, that was his oomph. Because he sees God work in him every day. It's incredible. I mean, sometimes, like I tell my daughter, I go, you can't deny these things that are happening. I mean, you look at him, and there's only one person that can possibly do that. There's only one person. You know, God. God's the only one that could do what's been done in Taylor's life. So, anyway, watch everything now too, though. Watch what's going on around the world. From Israel's our gauge. Israel's our gauge. Big things coming to Israel now. Okay, watch those fires out there too. It's supposed to, I think it's getting close to that nuclear plant out in California. 47 earthquakes in how many days? Whew. You know, that birthing process has started. You know that. It's started. So the contractions, and they're starting now to get in that last. So transition, the transitional period. So, you know, when the seals start to open, I think the first 6 seals are going to... Remember I told you that Jesus says once it starts, it'll be bam, 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 bam. It'll be... Once they start, these events and things that will happen will be back to back. I mean, people won't be able to catch your breath because they're going to happen so fast. That's the seals. I think the first 6 seals are together. Okay? When the first one's open, right after that, the other ones are opened. I think up to 6. I don't think the 7th one, but could be wrong. But I know at least the first 6 are opened back to back, almost simultaneously. See, and now you can see how that's setting up, can't you? You see everything about ready to explode, from the volcanoes to the earthquakes to the everything, you know, from the wars, from the everything is getting ready to erupt at the same time. Those are those seals that are going to be broken simultaneously. Bam, 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 bam. Remember I talked about that? Remember I said that? That's right. And that's what they are. It's the seals that will be broken right away, back to back. And again, I don't believe that, I said this months ago too, I don't believe that the tribulation is going to be 7 years. I think there will be 3.5 years. That's what I think. I could be wrong. Could be totally wrong. But I don't think it's going to be a full 7 years. I think it's going to be 3.5 years. That's what I think. So this week or next week, I'll do a video and tell you why I think that. Okay? I'll tell you what we've been taught, what we've been told, but I've thought that, it's been upon my, I've thought that for a year now, a year. And the more that I learned, the more days, it's because the way everything's playing out. And remember I said before that things aren't playing out like we've been taught, like we were to look for, and that we've always believed this would happen, this would happen, this would happen, this would happen, this would happen. But they're not all lining up that way because of, you know, where we're at. But I think the Great Trib is only going to be 3.5 years. I don't think it's going to be 7. You know, could be wrong. Could be wrong. But next week I'll do a video and I'll tell you why I think that. Okay, and the reasons for that. I will tell you that. So anyway, have a good weekend. And I love you guys. Just watch Israel. That's our gauge. Israel's our gauge. So, counting of the Omar too. You know, I got a message, I have to tell you. I got a message a couple weeks ago. I didn't release it. Because, I mean, it was very simple and basic. And the Lord had just said, there's nothing more to do. And remember I talked about that. There's nothing more to do. He said, just be and let me do. Just be and let me do. Okay? But stand in your faith. Prepare yourself. You know, get with me. Get close to me. But get rid of all the that's not of me. Okay? That's what's not of me. But in there it said something about when the counting is done. And the counting of the Omar. When the final count is in. And when the final count is in, the counting of the Omar, they'll be recorded. They'll be recorded. And I don't know why I didn't release it. Because maybe I thought maybe I had heard wrong. Because I didn't understand it. I thought, what has that got to do with it? You know, you know, I thought, wow, wow. Big things, big news came. And that message was right on. I feel horrible. I'm so sorry. I repent. I'm so sorry that I didn't release it because of my own doubt. My own doubt. You know, I didn't understand what I was reading. I didn't understand what I wrote. I understood it, but I mean, this one part I didn't. And I thought, what if I'm wrong? What about if I wrote that? I mean, what if I'm wrong? I don't understand what that is. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. But now it makes total sense. It was about the counting of the Omar. Well, that's what we're in, right? So the counting of the Omar ends, what, May 18th? May 18th? May 18th, I think. Anyway, I'll try to do a video tomorrow on that. I really will. Or maybe later tonight. Maybe later tonight. I'll pull it up and I'll redo it if I have time. But if not, I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow. But, you know, again, markers. 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 Okay. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. I'll see you soon.